I'm Jimmy Brown. I'm from Booker, Texas.
Booker. Okay. Were you born and raised in Booker?
No, I was born in Lubbock.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in Lubbock when I was 2. I went to Colorado, came back from Colorado when I was 9, and went back to Lubbock. And then a year later, I moved up to Booker, and that's where I grew up at.
Colorado to Booker, huh?
Yeah.
That's a pretty drastic transition.
Yeah, it is. I miss the mountains a lot. That's why after we came back, I have a lot of relatives that live around Denver. And whenever we came back, every summer we go up there to the mountains and stuff. But now, who knows? It's been a long time.
Yeah. Did you live with your parents, like mom and dad? Were they still together? Did you have siblings?
Oh yeah, my mom and dad were married for 50 years, and my oldest brother, he died, and I still have a brother alive that lives in Dallas.
Did you live with your parents up until did you graduate high school? What
Yeah,
did this look like
yeah,
for
I
you?
graduated high school.
Did you live in a pretty happy household?
Oh yeah, my childhood was great.
Yeah. What was
Yeah,
your most favorite memory as a child?
there's too many of them to count.
Ooh, give me the top two.
Uh, let's see. First time I was probably uh 4 years old. First time I went to the mountains in the summertime, fishing and camping out in the mountains. My dad used to take me and my older brothers up into the mountains, even in the wintertime on weekends, and show us how to hunt, fish, camp, and uh, survive in the mountains in the wilderness in the wintertime. I remember going to the mountains whenever I was, like I said, a little kid, and it being probably 10 degrees outside, if not colder, and camping out in the mountains over the weekend.
You loved that, huh?
Oh
That was a
yeah,
great time.
yeah, I love going to the mountains and camping out and stuff. Even now, uh, here in the wintertime, a lot of people think it gets cold, but it don't. I'll run around without my coat on, just my shirt on, whenever it's like 10 degrees outside snowing.
Dang.
Yeah, most of my life, I've been to cold places a lot in the wintertime because my dad, he was a great outdoorsman. I've been to Montana when it's been 30 below zero in the Rocky Mountains in Montana, fishing and hunting. I've gone to Minnesota, ice fishing in the January when it's been like 30 below. I've been to Alaska on the Bering Strait in the wintertime. Uh, where else have I been? Oh, Nebraska on the Platte River fishing in December. So yeah, I love the cold places, especially whenever you go hunting and fishing. A lot of people don't realize that whenever you uh, fish in the wintertime, they think you can't catch no fish. No, it's that they hadn't been taught how to do it. Wintertime is probably one of the best times to catch uh, fish. Of course, they had to be taught how.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My other favorite memory when I was growing up was, man, this is tough. There's so many of them. I would have to say my other favorite memory growing up is whenever my mom and dad, I was 5. We lived in Colorado, brought home a dog that my mom's friend at work gave her. It was a full-blooded collie. We called it Mincy. It looked just like Lassie. Yeah, that's my other favorite memory. To sum all my favorite memories up when I was growing up a kid, be the animals that we had over the years. We always had dogs, cats, sometimes horses. So yeah,
Wow.
them, yeah. So that that would be my favorite memories growing up, always having some kind of animal.
What did the later years in life look like for you once you had graduated high school and kind of, I'm assuming you moved out of your parents' house. What did this look like?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Like I said, my years after younger in life, when I was in my 20s, moved out of my mom and dad's house, like you said, on my own, working and everything, and gone all over after I got out of school. Even when I was a kid, I've been from when I got out of school. Me and a friend of mine, we took off. We went to Tennessee, just on the other side of Nashville, and was there for a while. Then we went to Minnesota for a while. Me and my friend at the time, we didn't stay in one place too long. I mean, it wasn't nothing bad. We just would stay in one place for a while, work for a little bit, save money up, go to a new place because we always wanted to travel to different places in the country. And so I've been to a lot of places in this country. I've been from Texas to Wyoming, from Wyoming to Montana, Montana to California, California to Arizona, Arizona to Tennessee, Tennessee to Minnesota, Minnesota to Oklahoma.
You've just been traveling. You
Yeah,
got to experience
yeah,
the world.
yeah. I have. I've been to a lot of different countries too. Whenever I was younger, that's one thing my daddy and mama told me. If you have the money and you're not going to jeopardize your job and you're able to go, then go. Because a lot of people, they want to do things, but they never do because they're afraid to. So yeah, it's amazing how this country changes from state to state, the scenery, the landscape. Like in Arizona, dry desert, and then you just go one state over, and in Southern California, you have uh, the ocean, the beaches, like in San Diego, and then you go in the same state, you go just north, then you're hitting the mountains in Northern California. People need to live out their dreams. Young or old, people need to live out their dreams. No matter what their dream is, young or old, they need to live out their dreams, not to be afraid to do them because time is short. Person never knows whenever God's going to call them home. And they can't be afraid to live out their dreams. Just like people want to make excuses to do things. No. Just like here. People all the time walk up to me and ask me, Jimmy, we need help with this or that. And I'm like, what's wrong? And they tell me, and I'm like, you guys need to listen when people try to help you. They go, what are you talking about? I go, we've had this conversation 1,000 times. And I'm going to tell you one last time. You guys have got to decide what you want to do. God tells us in the Bible that you can't serve God and manna. Manna meaning the world. You're going to love one and hate the other. And a lot of these people, they're double-minded. They're undecided for whatever reason. And a lot of people in the world in general are that way. They're double-sided, double-minded because they want both. They want the good things in life. They want the bad things in life. But they don't realize the more they want this, the more that tugs on them because they can't make up their mind what they want. And that's why God tells us you can't have both. Yeah, God knows that we need money, clothes, and stuff to survive, but He's trying to get people to understand God is that it's not the things, because all things pass away, it's all materialistic. God is trying to get people to understand that you have to have your spirit, your soul serve Him or the world. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is whenever God starts talking to them or when someone tries to help them and explain it, they still don't understand. A lot of people live on materialistic things, and people need to realize that that's not what He wants. He wants us to have materialistic things, but He wants us to have our spirits, hearts, and our souls with Him. And people go, Jimmy, I'm having problems with this, that. And I'm like, no, you're not having a problem with this, or this. You're having a problem with yourself because you're undecided. I was talking to uh, a couple the other night, a young couple the other night, and they told me what they wanted, and I told them, you know, there's a lot of places, a lot of people will help, but you guys have got to stop throwing your dreams and giving your dreams to the drug dealer. And I go, you have all these dreams, but every time you go to that drug dealer, every time you go to him, you're fulfilling and paying for his dreams. I go, don't get me wrong. People with addictions, no matter what the addiction is, there's plenty of places to help them. But it's not going to do no good if you don't make up your mind on what you want. I go, you can go to AA, you can go to NA, you can go to Centacor, any drug rehabilitation center you want. And then 4 or 5 days later, you get out and you're back doing the same thing because you are double-minded. You're stuck on things of the world, but you are looking for something to fill the emptiness inside. And I go, you don't have to go to any drug program. You don't have to go to any alcohol program. You got to start with yourself. You've got to make up your mind what you want. And that's why I talk to people about God a lot and try to get them to understand that God knows we need all these things, but they're materialistic and they pass away. And I go, whenever you make up your mind what you really want, then do it. Because, like I use the analogy of the drug dealer, it doesn't matter who the person is. If you keep going to the drug dealer and giving him your dreams instead of building your own dreams, you're going to be where you're at because you're not making up your mind what you're wanting to do.
It sounds like you're a very motivational, like a motivational speaker for these people, speaking into their lives. So, what brought you here from having such a great childhood and getting to travel in your 20s?
Yes, to answer your question, yeah. Mo will tell you. I'm Mo. Motivation with these people. What brought me here? All right, we'll speed up. I was raised right. I had a great childhood, and even after I got out of high school and went to these different places, I had a good life. But like a lot of people, I had my own addiction. And God always gave me what I wanted. I used to drink real bad, go to the bars all the time. And I went through my first divorce, it was real bad. And then I met my second wife, and we got married in 2001. And God finally gave me what I've always wanted. my own family. And because of my alcohol addiction and wanting to drink and trying to raise my kids, my ex-wife and my two stepsons, I knew who God was, but I didn't have a relationship with God. And that's why I shared people about being stuck, being double-minded, because I was the same way. And I couldn't see what God had given me, not clearly, until it was too late, until I lost my family. My first daughter was born in 2003. My second daughter was born in 2004. And my two stepsons, they were troubled kids. They were uh, both ADHD, and it was hard trying to understand their personalities, why they got mad and angry at the drop of a hat. And because of it, I would get angry sometimes, and I go out with my buddies and stuff and drink and come back home and start over the next day. Well, one day I got mad at one of my stepsons because he wouldn't mind his mama, and I started yelling at him to behave. And my mom was over there, and my two daughters. I think my oldest daughter was 2 years old, and I think my youngest daughter was just a year old. And they started crying. And Mama goes, "Jimmy, quit yelling! You're scaring them babies. Them are gifts from God. Them babies, they love you." And I froze, and I got to thinking about things. All right, a couple of nights later, I had a bottle of whiskey in the cabinet, and I went to bingo with my mama, and my ex-wife was at home with the kids, and she fell asleep on the couch. And I came home. My oldest stepson, he got into the bottle of whiskey I had and was drinking it, and I went, "What the heck are you doing?" He goes, "It was in the cabinet." I go, I didn't get mad at him or say nothing to him. I just got the bottle and took it away from him, and I told my ex-wife, "You know what your son was doing in the bedroom?" "No, I fell asleep and I didn't mean to." I go, "He was drinking the bottle of whiskey, got it out of the cabinet. Don't do nothing to him." Next day, he was real sick, and told him, "I'm not going to do nothing to you because you've learned your lesson about getting in things you shouldn't get into." And he told me that he thought it was, what was it? Oh, he told me, he goes, "I thought you guys had bought some kind of new fruit juice." And I go, "No." And I told him what it was. And after that, it was about 2 months later, I was with my buddy at his house, and I had a can of beer in my hand. I was looking at a can of beer, and I was like, and I told my friend, "I'll see you tomorrow. I'm leaving." And he goes, "You're all right?" I go, "Yeah, I'm just going to go home." And I went home, and what alcohol I had, I threw it away because I got to thinking about everything and some of the dumb stuff I did whenever I was drunk. And I realized that God had given what I always wanted. And it was a struggle, but it was hard. I didn't go to no AA or nothing. I just quit cold turkey. And so I quit, and the struggle was hard. And a couple of years, then about a year later, me and my ex-wife, we got in trouble. And I lost my two daughters because I wound up going to prison for 16 years. And in December of last year, 2024, I finished up the last 2 years of my 18-year sentence on parole in El Paso, the halfway house. And I called my brother in Dallas, and he told me I couldn't stay there. And so he told me to come here to Amarillo and try to find her cousin. And I started laughing at him and go, I haven't seen her cousin in 30 years. I don't remember what her last name is. And so I come here, and some people told me where Code Blue is at the bus station. So I walk to Code Blue, and I get to Code Blue, and I meet Virginia, and then I meet Shanna James, who helps the homeless community quite a bit, all she can. And they told me to go to the Guy on Resource Center. Shanna did the next day, and so I followed people to the Guy on Resource Center. And from day one, I started on my own, taking trash out, grabbed a broom, started sweeping, mopping the floors, and I did that for about a week. And I got to know the people that run the Guy on Resource Center: Brian, Kevin, Quentin, Gay. And about 2 weeks went by, and Brian and Kevin walked up to me. Jimmy, you want to volunteer work around here? I go, all right. I was thinking, I'll start volunteering working, and maybe they'll put me on the payroll, give me a job while I get off the streets and back on my feet. So I started volunteering work at the Resource Center. I worked during the day and at night. Mind you guys, this is the winter time in the Texas Panhandle, when it can be, and I admit it, although I love the cold, it can be brutal, very cold and brutal sometimes. Snowstorms, blizzards. So here we are in December and January. Work during the day, and at night I'm sleeping outside in front of the building on with my 2 sleeping bags, with it 10, 15 degrees outside, snowing. Well, for too long, they asked me if I would run one of the day rooms at the Resource Center. Okay. Then one of my bosses at the Resource Center, Al, he had a broke down SUV, and people would mess with and stuff during the night. And he goes, Jimmy, here's the keys to my SUV. I want you to sleep in it at night and watch over it. So that was a blessing from God. Well, I didn't have to sleep out in the cold and on the sidewalk. Although it would run, you just couldn't drive it. Transmission went out on it. So I slept in there, and then I kept doing what I was doing. And then James, Mo, Penny, Mark, they know the people at the Resource Center, and Penny and James. In January, I met them. They started telling me about the Transformation Park. The more I got talking to James, he started talking to Penny and everyone else here at Transformation Park about me. And it was end of January. They was doing, they was doing their count for the people that's at the Resource Center, not on the streets. And I don't remember his James or Penny, but anyway, they gave me this sticker that says, I count. Everybody in this world counts, even whenever you're down. And so Penny goes, Jimmy, I finally get to meet you. You're the famous Jimmy that everyone talks about. And I'm like, Penny, what are you talking about? And she goes, you're the Jimmy that will do anything to help out. And I go, yeah, that's me. And then she told James, you're right. Jimmy's the kind of person that we need down here at the park. So I started building my relationship more with Penny, James, and Mark, and Heather. I knew Heather. I met Heather at Resource Center the first day when I went down there. And so a little bit of time goes by. and they started opening up the park, and Heather came and interviewed me with Mo. I came down here, and I came to the park here April the 10th, and Mo asked me, Jimmy, what do you need the most? And it's funny because Heather goes, I know what he needs the most. And I go, yeah, Heather knows what I need because Heather knows me. And that was a job. Well, I started doing the same thing here, cleaning the bathrooms, helping in the office, taking out trash, building a lot of this stuff around here. And I was talking to James one day. I went with James to the lumber yard, pick up some stuff, some uh, fertilizer and stuff for the flower beds over there where they had made them. And I asked James how he got to work for Transformation Park. And he told me that he was doing this, and then he knew Mark from church and stuff, and that Mark asked him if he wanted to come here work for the park. And so I go, so you doing volunteer work? He goes, yeah. And I go, how long? He goes, I don't remember. I just was doing volunteer work and stuff, and I knew Mark from church. And then Mark one day asked me if I wanted to work here, helping at the park and stuff. And I go, all right. So all I got to do is volunteer work. He goes, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Well, I told James, when there's an opening, don't forget about me. He goes, I won't. And I guess about 3 weeks went by, almost a month, maybe not even that long. And I walked into the office and I go, have you guys forgotten about me? And they all told me basically the same thing. No, be patient. We're working on it. And they had a staff meeting on Monday. And a couple of days later, I walked into the office because I was working over there in the safe space, watching over the safe space from 8 in the morning to noon. And I walked into the office to get some coffee, and Heather goes, Jimmy, guess what? And I go, what? She goes, you're no longer going to be doing the safe space. I go, huh? She goes, I have a new job for you. We got a new job for you. I go, what's that? And they go, whenever we had our meeting a couple of days ago, we hired you to do security at night, help with security at night. And I go, okay. And so I do security at night here. What, Mo, been about a month now? Month and a half? It's been about a month and a half, huh? Since y'all put me on the payroll. That's why I was asking. It's been about a month. It's about a month, maybe a little over a month that I've been working here at nights doing security. And I look back because I grown up, see, this is one thing God has taught me and showed me over the years of my life. Like a lot of people, I grew up in church. I went to church all the time. And I was like 14 years old. My mom and daddy told me, we're not going to make you go to church no more. You're becoming a man. You start making your own decisions on things. All right. And I went to church off and on. And as I got older, I quit going to church. And then I started, like I said, not getting into trouble, but started my alcoholism. And that led to me losing my family because of going to prison. And then living on these streets, and now here and getting back on my feet. But God has taught me one thing. I look back on it, and that's why I try to tell these people, you may not have a relationship with God at the time, but God is always in your life whenever you don't think he is. I remember looking back whenever I was a kid, how God has protected me, how God has watched over me. And it's amazing because you're looking at a person who was raised right, and who God, although I didn't know it at the time, was giving me the things that I wanted and that I was asking for, although I didn't have a relationship with God. To individual who has truly had his eyes opened by God in his life. People, don't give up on your dreams no matter where you're at. I was raised right and I grew up right. I'm the one that messed up, not my family. Whenever I went to court, when I got in trouble, I told the judge, my family don't have nothing to do with this. I was raised right. I'm the one that messed up. And I was 5 years old. Just some examples how God has always been in my life, but I didn't see it at the time. Where God has taught me I'm always there, although you may not think so. I was 5 years old at bowling alley. I was climbing up and down, and I slipped and fell and ripped off half my nose. Had to go to the hospital. My first concussion, when I fell, I hit my head. Go a few years later, I was 9. Within a month, I had 2 more concussions. I wrecked my bicycle trying to play Evel Knievel. First time, I flipped over the top of my aunt's station wagon, fell off the front of it on my bicycle, and hit my temple on the curb. Had to have 4 stitches, slight concussion. Months later, I done the same thing, except I hit my left temple. Another 4 stitches, slight concussion. Fast forward a little bit later, I was 14 years old, and I was a freshman in high school, and I was going to the ag farm to get my papers for my live show animal, and I followed the back of El Camino going 60 miles an hour down the highway. Fall out head first on the highway, rolled into a bone roll across the highway. Had 180 stitches at one time, put me back together, burns all over my body from the pavement, bruised my brain, major concussion. Then, a few years later, I'm working at an oil field place, and I get hit in the head with a piece of metal. I had to have 8 stitches put in my head, my last concussion. And I'm not bragging, people, I'm just being honest and telling you guys, no matter where you're at in life, no matter how old you are, don't give up, because God is always with you, because I should be dead. I've had 220 stitches, 5 concussions, a bruised brain, and here I am, 58 years old next month in August, still alive, still breathing, still trying to help people. Without God in your life, you are going to be struggling your whole life. And that's why I share this with y'all, because God is always in your life. You may not think so, you may not believe it, but He is. Because like I said, I should be dead. I shouldn't even be here. And no matter what your addiction is, just remember this, young or old. Yes, places will help you, but you got to want to help yourself first. And have to have God in your life to do it. You cannot overcome on your own. I know there's a lot of people in the world that don't believe in God, think that it's all man-made, that He's man-made. No, He's not. God is the only true living God in this universe, the creator of all things. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but God's going to come knocking when He does open that door, because He's there for a reason. He has a purpose and a plan for your life, no matter if you're young or old. People, you don't have to believe me. I just know for a fact what God has done for me and where I've come from and what I've gone through and where I'm at now. And that is overcoming things that the devil has put against me and trying to keep me down. Yes, I've lost a lot in this life, and yes, it hurts me, but my treasures aren't here. They're in heaven. And remember, no matter what your addiction is, don't give your dreams to the drug dealer. Build your own dreams and turn to God and find out for yourself if God is real or a phony. Instead, listen to all your friends, relatives that God ain't real. You don't need God. Yeah. Do me that favor. Don't believe what other people are telling you about God. Go to God on your knees and ask God into your life and find out for yourself how God can change your life.
Jimmy, that is good. Do you speak to your children now that you're out?
I haven't seen my children since 2006 when I went to prison. And I'm trying to find them. And I will. God will bring me to them.
How old are they?
My oldest daughter just turned, let's see, it's 2005. My oldest daughter just turned 22 in April. My youngest daughter, Saturday on the 5th, she'll be 21.
You
Yeah.
got some older kids, huh?
Yeah. 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 I also have kids that are 60. I also have kids that are 60 years old and act like they're 5. But yeah.
What did you, if you don't mind sharing with people, what did you go to jail for?
I went to jail for an aggravated crime, something that I didn't do. I took part in it, but I didn't commit the crime. I was just there when it happened, and that's why I got in trouble, because I didn't do nothing to stop it. So I went to prison for 16 years on what's it called? Accessory to commit a crime. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you came out and couldn't find your kids, pretty much. Is
Oh yeah,
basically like what
yeah,
your story is.
yeah. I lost contact with my kids when I went to prison because my ex-wife, she went to prison too. My ex-mother-in-law has had my kids and raised them. I'm thankful. I don't like my ex-mother-in-law. I love her, but I don't like her. And I owe her and my ex-father-in-law one, if they do see this by chance, my whole family, not my ex-in-laws, my family that's still alive. I owe them a big apology for getting in trouble and being away from them and losing a lot of them. And I want to thank my ex-father-in-law and ex-mother-in-law for taking in my kids and raising them instead of them being put in a foster home. And I am very thankful and grateful for that my kids were raised by my family. Because a lot of kids in bad situations, they're taken away from their families and they're put in foster homes and they're raised by strangers and they're abused a lot in so many different ways, and they're passed from one orphanage, one foster home to another one. And so I'm very thankful and grateful that my kids were raised by my family.
Well, they weren't raised here in Amarillo,
No.
right?
No, I don't even know where my kids are at right now.
Yeah.
It's been forever since I've seen them.
Well, if they were here watching, what do you want to tell them?
That there hasn't been a day gone by since 2006 I hadn't thought about them. That I'm sorry for getting into trouble and being away from them, not being there when they needed me. And that I just want one chance from God to bring me to them so I can explain to them everything that happened and why I went to prison. Because when I went to prison, My oldest daughter, she was 2 years and 8 months old. My youngest daughter was a year and 5 months old. And all they know is that dad, mom got in trouble and had to go away. That's all they know. Or at the time, that's all they knew. And that's why I just want God to give me one chance, bring me back with them, so I can explain to them everything that happened that they didn't know about. And if they don't want to be a part of my life and don't want me in their life, I can live with that and understand that, because of being hurt by not being raised by their mom and dad like they should have been. I'm sorry for all the hurt and pain they've gone through over the years, especially in school, because I know how kids are. Especially at functions, kids can be so mean and brutal. Where's your mom and dad? Oh, that's the one we told you about. Their mom and dad left them, abandoned them. Their mom and dad went to prison, went to jail. And so they're raised by their grandma, grandpa, or aunt and uncle. They don't have no mom and dad no more like we do. I'm sorry for the hurt and pain that y'all have gone through when y'all was growing up, because you shouldn't have went through it. And that's all I want, is that one chance to spend one day with them and explain to them everything that's happened. And there's no wrong answer, there's no right answer to things in life. Sometimes when things happen, things just happen sometimes. But me going to prison, yes, there was an answer. But like I said, at the time, I was very lost, double-minded, didn't have a relationship with God, didn't have Jesus Christ in my life, God in my life. Although I knew who he was and they were, still, I didn't know him. I knew about him but didn't know him. And yes, I shouldn't let happen what happened. But like I said, when you're on an addiction, you make cloudy judgments because you don't see straight. You can't think right sometimes. And so I just want that chance to spend one day with my kids and explain everything to them and tell them that it wasn't their fault. It was my fault. And if God gives me that chance, if I can spend this one day with them and they want to walk away from me, it'll hurt, but I understand why. Because to be honest about it, if it was the other way around, I'd probably walk away too. Because there's certain hurts and pains in life, although you overcome them, the scars are always there deep inside. And sometimes for an individual to continue to overcome in their life, they have to bury that certain hurt and pain best they can and keep it buried and don't re-dig it up from time to time, because it's going to open up that wound that they buried. And it's nothing against the person, victim or not a victim. Whenever you open up them old wounds after you overcome them, sometimes people do things they don't want to do and don't mean to do because they're angry, hurt, and they're trying to deal with the pain. And so if God gives me the chance to be with my kids and I explain everything to them, even if it's just one day, and they tell me, Dad, it took us a long time to overcome the hurt and pain, the loneliness of you and Mama not being with us, raising us like you should have been. We love you. We're glad you're all right, Dad. But it's too hard for us to be around you. We're glad you're all right. Please try to understand. Don't come around anymore. And I can live with that, and I understand that because of the hurt and pain that they've gone through because of me growing up. And that's all I want when it comes to my family is a chance for me to be with my daughters just one day and explain to them. And like I just said, if they want to walk away and don't want nothing to do with me, I can live with that. And I understand that because in life, there's certain things that need to be buried and kept buried for the best interest in a person's life and to help that person to keep moving forward. There's some things that don't need to be unburied because it causes too much hurt, too much emotional damage on both sides, on the person that got hurt and the person that did the hurt. Because a lot of times that person that did the hurt, they're lost. They're struggling with something and they're taking their pain and aggression out on somebody else, doing it the wrong way instead of trying to get help and doing it the right way because they're lost. They're struggling for an answer. And so, once again,
What does the future look like for you?
future for me is this. Within 2 years, I'm planning on being out of here, my own house, own apartment, by the grace of God, reunited with my kids, like I was just explaining. Still working here, helping people get on their feet and trying to help them overcome their addictions. Because there's many kinds of addictions. It's just not drugs, alcohol, and that's where people are so lost, is that there's many kinds of addictions. I think my purpose right now in life that God has me is here. And that's the reason why I think God has put me here when he did. Because he knows the addictions that I've helped people through in prison. He knows the people I brought to Christ in prison. He knows the pain and suffering that I've gone through when it comes to, how can I put it? When it comes to family problems, when it comes to relationship problems, when it comes to losing loved ones. When I went to prison, I went to prison in 2007. 2009, I'd been in prison for 2 years. I lost my mom in prison. A year later, in 2010, I lost my dad in prison. People, please listen to me. Do whatever you got to do to walk away from a problem so you don't wind up going to prison. Because when I lost my mom and dad back to back, you're talking about real hurtful, heartfelt soul pain. You grow up with your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, raised it, and you have your relationship all your life until they die or you die. When my mom and dad died, I went through hell emotionally, physically, mentally for a year and a half because I couldn't go to their funerals. Wasn't my fault, but because of past people in prison and their actions, and and everyone knows them. The Texas 7 changed everything for the inmates, the prisoners after them. So, because of being in prison, I couldn't go to my mom and dad's funeral. So please, people, there's ways to solve your problem without violence, without drugs, without alcohol. Seek help so you don't get in trouble and go to jail or prison. Because there's people out there that'll help you. You just got to reach out for it. So, yeah. And I think
Jimmy,
that's
thank
why
you.
God has put me here. Because he knows, I was saying, emotional, physical pain and the lessons that he's taught me. And I think that's why God has brought me here for this time being, is to use me to try to help these people all I can with their addictions. Yeah. And so 2 years from now, I was saying, I plan on being in an apartment, house, have my own car, truck. By the grace of God, still working here, and hopefully have a prison ministry. Because I've spent a lot of time out this prison here in Amarillo, Bill Clements. And hopefully by then, have a prison ministry. I think that's truly why God has put me in the position He's put me and brought me here. And I hate to repeat myself, but I'm sorry. He knows things I've gone through in life all the way around, and He knows I can help these people if they'll listen. Because of the struggles in life, they're not easy sometimes. And so that's what I plan on being.
Jimmy, thank you so much for willing to share your story with everyone. You are just a ray of sunshine, and I love it so much.
Mo, she's still in your lines.
She tells you that too? It must just be a thing that you do then. All right.